record-breaking, unprecedented. We are living in a world where these words are being heard more and more frequently. Hello and welcome, I'm Sadhika Tiwari and you're watching Eco India. Superlatives are often being used to describe the impacts of human-induced climate change in the cities and in the countryside. New challenges need new strategies, and technology is a big one on this list. On today's episode, let's take a look at how technology is already impacting the way we live and we farm. We start with a humble vegetable that's been making headlines for decades here in India, the onion. Unseasonal rains and prolonged drought can cause shortages, pushing prices up and angering the consumers. But a severe lack of storage facilities means that a glutton supply is also a problem. Prices drop, which is a calamity for farmers. The onion has triggered protests and toppled governments. But as our top story shows, improved storage can help stabilize this volatile situation.
Whether raw, sautéed or deep-fried, onions are a staple of Indian cuisine. The basis of countless dishes served up from morning till night. Little wonder then that fluctuating prices can cook up a storm, impacting consumers, retailers, businesses and farmers. With a knock-on effect on politics, onions can be a barometer of public opinion, with the power to make or break governments. Here at Asia's second largest onion wholesale market in Lasalgaon, Maharashtra, farmers are again unhappy. We still aren't getting a fair price in onion season. Will I make 2, 5 or even 1,000 rupees today? Definitely not. India produces more than 20 million tons of onions a year in 2 harvests. In between these, there's a delicate balance of supply and demand. Bad weather, spoilage and changing supply trends can cause prices to rise or fall. When it comes to spoilage, good and ample storage is key. Agriculture experts say there is much room for improvement.
So these storages has to be scientific storages and enough storages closer to the production places. What is important is this storage has to be closer to the production places, and this storage should be modern, sophisticated enough to, from temperature point of view, humidity point of view, some fumigation practices point of view, and logistical points of view for loading and unloading from.
Onion crops are sown 2 to 3 times a year. The winter crop Rabi is harvested in March and April and has a shelf life of 7 to 8 months. The summer crop Kharif has a shorter harvest cycle and shelf life due to its higher moisture content. Vasant Uttam, a farmer from Kalwan, runs a traditional warehouse that stores his produce for about 6 months a year. Changing weather conditions as a result of human-induced climate change make it more difficult to maintain a healthy stock, he tells us. Time and again, the harvests suffer. It happens automatically when it rains non-stop for 8 or 10 days. There's no way to avoid it. Somewhere inside the storage containers, the onions will start to rot. If the spoilage starts deep within the stored crop, a large proportion of the onions may end up ruined. But there are ways to reduce the risk. This device reveals where exactly in the hall any onions are rotting. Its fine sensors detect gases emitted during decay.
We do multivariant data analysis to understand what is the condition of the crop, and based on the spikes and insights which our algorithms suggest, we alert the farmers or whoever the warehouse owner is about what exactly is happening in which part of your warehouse.
The devices cost 15,000 rupees each, around 165 euros. No small investment for farmers. Vasant Uttam has nonetheless installed several in his warehouse. One device covers roughly 5 tons of crop. We get a text message if a sensor has detected spoilage. I got one that said device number 6 had located rotting onions, and I should check it as soon as possible. A solution like this can be helpful for agriculture cooperatives. But even basic modifications to a warehouse can improve things, says Pankaj Ushir. He's the owner of a farmer-producer organization in Maharashtra's Nashik district that has a large warehouse capacity.
Whatever chawl units we have created, it is of totally bamboo structure. Because of that, thermal transmission is not there. Second thing, we are using pallets on the ground. We are not directly putting the onions on the ground, because of which ventilation gets maintained. We are keeping the distance between the chawls. It is a minimum 8 feet. Normally farmers try to put maximum onion in small space, because of which there is no proper ventilation, and due to which crop gets damaged.
Storage is key to ensuring a steady supply of India's indispensable vegetable. By taking it into their own hands, farmers can help reduce the risks of a volatile market so that onions remain firmly on the menu.
From farming onions on land to cultivating seafood underwater, farmed shrimp accounts for 55% of the shrimp produced globally. In countries like India, one of the world's largest shrimp producers, this business generates incomes for thousands of families, but at the cost of wetland ecosystems. We headed to Singapore, where artificial intelligence is taking shrimp production indoors.
At this test site for a fully automated indoor shrimp farm, there are no more surprises. 2 years after the start of the project, the team, led by founder John Diener, is going to market.
In the second half of this year, we will have 60 of these tanks. And then there's a robotic gantry that goes up and down the middle of that racking system. No people are touching the tank. It's running autonomously the whole time.
The farm is located in a harbor warehouse. The shrimp grow in these tanks under almost perfect conditions and only need half as long to reach market size as in conventional open-air farms. An AI-controlled computer system constantly measures and improves their conditions. Underwater cameras track the development of the shrimp. The team collects so much data that only an AI system can make sense of it. The price of the shrimp is already competitive, but the system's biggest advantage is yet to come. It can be set up anywhere in the world, eliminating the cost of expensive supply chains. This batch is being sent out to restaurants near the city. Just hours after they come out of the water, customers here can enjoy raw prawns with pickled green chili and a little horseradish and lime.
So we always tell them where the prawns come from and that it's locally farmed in Singapore, which is different. Like you can't, most things farmed in Singapore you don't want to eat. Yeah, I mean, the waters here aren't the greatest, right?
Back at the shrimp farm behind the busy Singapore harbor, John Diener takes a closer look at the seaweed filtration system. The different algae species here allow the farm to operate a zero-discharge recirculating system. The shrimp farm has been using the same water for over 2 years, hence the distinctive color. Both the seaweed and the shrimp are regularly tested for diseases, but so far the farm has had no problems. This is a crucial difference to conventional shrimp farms, which often have to use antibiotics. John Diener worked in the shrimp industry for 10 years, until he decided that shrimp farming needed a new approach, one with competitive costs and minimal environmental impact.
Sometimes we see the shrimp, they kind of like to just float up with the bubbles and then go around and then float up again and go around and float up again. It's almost like they're kind of having fun.
The team is already thinking about applying its AI farming system to chickens or cattle. But first they want to breed their own shrimp instead of buying young shrimp from Thailand. According to the two founders, aquaculture is just the beginning for this new generation of agricultural systems, in which the computer is the farmer.
A majority of India's vast rural population is yet to benefit from the technological progress we see in India's cities. The developmental needs of rural areas are very different than those of big cities, but efforts are being made to bridge this gap. We visited Meghalaya, the northeastern state known as the abode of the clouds, to see how solar power has helped improve healthcare in a remote region that doesn't see a lot of sun. The village of Thinriot is home to 3,500 people. Most of them are from the Khasi tribe. Around half have never been taught to read or write. Sonia Bhuplang has been working here for 3 years as an auxiliary nurse and midwife. Her focus is on children and their mothers. If her patients can't make it to the health center, she visits them at home. That often involves walking long distances, something she's happy to do, because she knows her work is saving lives. We vaccinate children, provide treatment for maternal health, and share critical information about family planning services. We can treat patients here, but if they have a serious illness or need advanced medical treatment, we refer them to government hospitals. The government health sub-center where Sonia works serves around 8,000 people from the entire area. But it wasn't always this busy. That's because, like most villages here, Thinroit doesn't have a reliable power supply. Normally, electricity is only available for a few hours a day. Because we had no functioning electricity, patients would be scared to come. Pregnant women especially would believe that it was better to deliver at home than come to a sub-center. Nearly half of all childbirths in Meghalaya take place outside of hospitals, a problem in the event of complications. Both infant and maternal mortality rates are significantly higher than the national average. After a series of home deliveries, 37-year-old Bhalang gave birth to her 7th child in the Thinroit sub-center nearly a year ago. It was a gloomy, rainy day and the clinic was dark. There was no electricity here the day my baby was born. They used candles to at least have some light and coal-fired stoves to keep the baby warm. The situation came to the attention of the Sauramandala Foundation and its co-founder Naga Karthik. It's a non-profit that works mainly with remote communities in Meghalaya. They found a host of other problems that the clinic shared with other sub-centers in the region. Without functioning fridges, vaccines couldn't be stored. And without power, the centers couldn't provide medical workers with accommodation. As a result, they lost precious time on travel when responding to emergencies.
And this could be the golden hour where, if it's a high-risk pregnancy, then you've lost the time to actually do the medical intervention.
The solution they chose was decentralized solar power. And for this, they approached Selco Foundation, a non-profit that has helped power healthcare centers with solar energy across India. But here, in the abode of the clouds, the sun can disappear for days. Monsoon rains are usually heavy and long, not ideal for solar power.
I think the weather in Meghalaya definitely one of the center points of how we design these systems. Let's look at all of this together in terms of what are the solar irradiance that they're getting. And then sort of maybe just take the worst of the region in the state and try and design a system that is designed to work in that situation.
That system required nearly 1.5 times the capacity of those used elsewhere in India. More panels and bigger batteries keep it up and running even when skies are overcast for several days. The design was a success. Gradually, more mothers began consulting the clinics.
Previously, out of the 460 sub-centers, about 130, 140 of them were conducting deliveries. Apart from other efforts, solar also has added. Now we are close to 350, 360 of our sub-centers are conducting deliveries. So what happens is that the safe delivery of the pregnant mother increases. And thereby that reduces maternal deaths for us.
At Thinroit, solar has brought a sea change. Refrigerators stock vaccines. Labor rooms have lighting, oxygen concentrators, and suction machines to attend to possible complications during delivery. And the electricity supply is uninterrupted.
We've been getting the word out that solar power has been installed at our center, and mothers can now come here because we have electricity. They can receive treatment here and don't have to travel a long distance to a hospital in the city. By the end of 2024, Meghalaya aims to be the first state in India that uses decentralized solar energy to power all of its sub-center clinics.
Heat and irregular and inadequate rainfall are some of the biggest factors responsible for a steep decline in farmers' incomes and crop production in almost all parts of India. These climatic factors are, however, not exclusive to India. Spain too has been dealing with a severe water crisis amid a prolonged drought and record high temperatures. But in the country's south, farmers have found ways to save water and are growing bumper crops.
Heat and drought. Spain's agriculture has once again been left high and dry this year. But this is also Spain. It rarely rains here, but there is water, and even plenty of tomatoes. Why is that?
Given the relatively dry conditions that we have in Spain, especially on the Mediterranean, I think it's quite advantageous to grow food in greenhouses.
Oh dear, how awful. The classic reaction when it comes to the vast plastic landscapes of Almeria. But while oranges, olives, and grains dried up elsewhere, vegetables for Europe grow here almost all year round. This region has always been dry, which is why farmers, together with engineers, make the best of what little water they do have, including with the help of sensors and software.
What we achieve here in the greenhouses is a 20 to 30% water saving, 20% less fertilizer, and 30% less electricity. The technology helps farmers and the whole region to be more sustainable.
In the greenhouses, farmers do everything they can to save water. This tomato grower, for example, doesn't use sensors or even soil. Instead, he puts the plants into a substrate.
This way, we save 20% of the water that we would otherwise have wasted, plus the fertilizer that's in there. That's a big saving.
The irrigated greenhouses is an idea from the 1960s Franco dictatorship in a region where hardly anything grew. Thousands of families tried their luck on a single hectare of land. Estanislao Penado's parents were among them.
It's a pretty good living. The greenhouses have improved the lives of 80 or 90% of Almerians.
Prosperity and less water consumption, two good reasons for the greenhouses. But so far, farmers have been growing more or less the same things. Field vegetables such as lettuce or broccoli have yet to thrive under cover. But there's one exception. This farm, which grows bok choy under plastic, highly automated with a closed water cycle. It saves 50% on water and fertilizer compared to growing the vegetables outdoors.
We have 3.2 hectares here, and we have 9 harvest phases per year. In the field, they manage 2 or 3 phases on the same area.
This greenhouse's efficiency, regardless of which vegetable is being grown, is crucial.
Building the greenhouses costs around 150,000 euros per hectare. Not all vegetable types can recoup those costs.
Still, there are attempts to grow larger crops under plastic, such as these pitayas and these papayas. For scientists, this is just the start.
I think that better control of climatic conditions and of pests will ensure better production and quality.
One scarce commodity is crucial for success under plastic: water, even if you need less than you would growing food in a field. Still, growing more than 32,000 hectares worth of vegetables requires a lot of water. In this case, it comes from a seawater desalination plant, which has to work 24 hours a day.
Development and production in the region would be unthinkable without this plant, because the groundwater that the farmers used to use was salty.
By expanding wind and solar power in Spain, more and more seawater may be desalinated affordably and sustainably in the future. But that only works on the coasts. If water prices rise overall, greenhouses will also become more interesting outside of the Almería region.
I think this model could develop almost everywhere around the Mediterranean.
Almería is a model both for Spain and for farmers in other countries to counteract the drought.
As we saw earlier, farmers often struggle to get a fair price for their produce. Market forces, distances from the market to the farm, lack of proper mobility or storage facilities, and a heavy reliance on middlemen all eat into their income. A startup in Tamil Nadu is trying to remove the middlemen out of this equation through an online marketplace that directly connects the buyers and the suppliers.
Tons of fruits and vegetables are harvested each day in India. The produce will spoil if it doesn't reach the market fast. Often, farmers don't find out the price their produce will sell for until after it's arrived. A startup from Trichy in the Indian state of Tamil Nadu wants to simplify the process. Our supply chain is farm to door. We procure the produce and it's brought to our warehouse. There it's sorted before it's supplied to the traders, who in turn sell it to the end users. We supply traders directly, because when produce is transferred across different channels through various middlemen, the price can rise. Plus, you risk wastage because the goods are perishable. The company operates a fleet of 25 vehicles to collect crops directly from farmers each day. The founders say that this eliminates not only the need for farmers to go to market themselves, but also concerns over getting a satisfactory price. When farmers bring their product to market themselves, they usually only learn the selling price the next day. But eSandai works differently. The farmers contact us when they've finished harvesting their vegetables. In just 5 minutes, we'll tell them the pickup time and the exact market price their produce will fetch. The startup guarantees farmers a minimum price, which is calculated using digital tools. On our website dashboard, we display the price. It's transparent for the farmers and the traders. The app is also handy for customers. From 10 in the morning to 8 in the evening, they can order the produce that they want the next day. The produce is delivered to the warehouse by midnight, after which it is packed into crates to fulfill retailers' orders. From 2 a.m., the vegetables are then sent on their way again, to the markets and to retailers, who sell them to consumers. We aim to get the products to the markets before they open each day. This helps us save 3 to 4 hours. That's valuable time that helps protect the perishable goods, so that the produce reaches the consumers in a fresh condition. The startup works with around 1,200 farmers. Its service has provided relief for producers, especially those in remote communities, saving them time and resources. Now all we have to do is harvest. Then eSandai vehicles come to collect and weigh the produce. The amount is credited the day after pickup. Before we began working with eSandai, we'd have to load the produce into an auto rickshaw for a transport that cost us 1,000 rupees. The whole process of getting it to market was hectic, and it was midnight or 1 a.m. before we got back home. eSandai saves the farmers several hours of time, as well as transport costs and energy. Today, the startup employs around 200 people, and it's got its sights set on expansion, looking to increase sales fivefold over the next year. Its founders have seen that optimizing the supply chain helps bridge the gap between farmers and consumers. bringing benefits to both.
Sustainable technology really can make a huge difference in how we deal with the challenges on this planet in the years to come. Are you seeing any such innovative tech solutions? Do let us know. You can email us or reach out to me directly on my social media handles. I will see you next week. Until then, take care. Goodbye. Namaskar.